All right. Welcome to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Going to talk about everything in terms of the greatest thing in the world, what me and you love so damn much, professional wrestling. So, we have a lot for you today on tap. But first and foremost, it is Wednesday. We're getting over that hump day. Today is hump day. That's what my mom liked to refer to it as. Don't get too excited. It's not exactly, it just means that as you're going through the week, especially the work week, it can get kind of tough. You know what I mean? So then you got Monday, Monday, Tuesday, just hauling that toy right in the back of your truck right there, carrying all the baggage. And then right here on Wednesday, you kind of have the tippity top. And then Thursday, Friday, and back down to Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, obviously, filled with a bunch of awesome college football. Saturday, college football. Sunday, the NFL. So, lots to look forward to. Lots to look forward to. But we are still in the middle of the week. Wednesday, we have Dynamite. Thursday, we have TNA and Ring of Honor. Friday, we have SmackDown. So don't look too somber because we have a whole bunch of awesome wrestling content. Just ahead to watch, and it's going to be awesome. So once again, thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, and today we're going to talk about our My WWE NXT review. We're going to talk about some AEW Dynamite Grand Slam preview, which should be pretty badass. So I anticipate that being pretty awesome. Can't wait to watch it. Got it recorded right now. I'm one of those suckers who pay for cable still, fortunately. So I'm able to kind of record it. I have not checked a single shred of social media, TikTok or Instagram for any content or kind of, updates or anything like that. So, it's still raw, still hardcore raw. And our third segment, we're going to talk about some potential storylines that some returning WWE superstars will have, like maybe Raquel Rodriguez, maybe Brock Lesnar, also maybe AJ Styles, or Asuka, Charlotte Flair. We're going to talk about that, and then our fourth segment, we're going to talk about the release of Mr. McMahon, which is available on Netflix right now. So make sure you go check that out. I honestly can't wait to see it. I can't wait to watch it. I heard it has a lot of crazy dirt to be uncovered. Once again, the segment's not going to be, more or less about the allegations or anything like that. Gonna try to stay away from that kind of stuff. More or less just gonna, talk about just how Vince McMahon is reacting to, basically, you know, the docuseries being available and exactly, his perspective, how he feels. And, we're going to dig on into that in our fourth segment. And then our fifth segment, our fifth and final segment, something we do every Wednesday. I give you guys my Wednesdays weekly wrestling news, give you guys some headlines in terms of the professional wrestling industry, some of the breaking news, so to speak. And we're going to dig on into that, get some opinions going. And, yeah, totally, totes my goats, can't wait. All right, but before we get on into any of that, I want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit up that super chat. If you have a burning question or just something you've been dying to get off your chest, here at the GSMC Sports Network, we are all ears 1,010%. This show is all about keeping the conversation lively, making sure your voice is part of the mix. So don't be shy and drop those thoughts inside that chat. And if you really want to make sure your comment question gets noticed, why not use that super chat box? It's the $ below the chat box, just so your message is guaranteed to be featured on the show. It makes it pretty awesome. Plus, it's a great way to support our channel here at the GSMC Sports Network. Your super chats, obviously, kind of, they help us keep the lights on so many podcasts that we have here. And so we're available to keep this awesome sports content, coming at you guys 24/7, 5 days a week. Yeah, make sure you support the channel. We are absolutely super grateful for each and every one of you guys. Sorry, I can't talk today. Who joins us here daily on the GSMC Sports Network. Your support makes all the difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. And together, we will make sure this podcast is bigger, better, and stronger than ever. And once again, if the super chat is not your thing, go ahead and hit up the tips and donations at the gsmcpodcast.net. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Just remember to Superman punch that, like a subscribe button to the show. Follow the show. Follow the network here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity. 1,010%. Obviously, we do know that criticism is part of life. So, feedback is gets. Obviously, just because, just tap whatever you want. Just be just be part of the show. It's it's guaranteed to be a good time. Guaranteed. All right. So now we're gonna jump on to my first segment, which is we're gonna talk about some WWE NXT, which happened last night. It was a pretty awesome episode, I gotta be honest. It just it seems like NXT just keeps getting better, better and better. So yeah, first and foremost, we had the WWE NXT Women's North American Championship match. We have Kelani Jordan putting on a clinic against Wren Sinclair. Much like I kind of anticipated this match was going to be, it just kind of gives Wren Sinclair a chance to kind of showcase her skills, showing that she is the future of the WWE Women's Division. Obviously, her confidants, her partners, her newly formed faction, the No Quarter Catch Crew, didn't really look disappointed. They didn't look disappointed. They didn't necessarily look impressed. But at the same time, if you're going against somebody like Kelani Jordan, who has all the momentum right now, she's riding because, so far she's had, a couple of title defenses, obviously successful because she has the belt. So I feel for Kelani Jordan. I feel like she's definitely, much like the Intercontinental Championship has done for so many WWE superstars back in the day, till right now. She's definitely on her next step of becoming, the new WWE NXT Women's World Champion. Obviously, it's going to take some time because, she's gonna. I feel like this title reign's going to be great for her. I don't see her, having any loose ends. I don't really see her dropping the title to like an unworthy competitor. So the way that they're kind of booking the WWE NXT Women's North American Championship is I like it. I think it's smart. I think right now, you're kind of put in this position where you're like, you know what? We kind of have to do what we got to do. And Kehlani Jordan has been, she's been great. She's been great. Obviously, 1,010%. Next, we have Ethan Page in a press conference, basically showing his extreme confidence. Um, I definitely think he could retain. I do. I think he can retain next week on the first episode of the CW, but it's going to take a lot. It's going to definitely take a lot. Trick Williams is no one trick pony, so to speak. He's going to come at you with all he has. Obviously, doesn't really have much to lose. Ethan Page never really won the championship cleanly. He kind of sort of, fell into it. So it wouldn't be a shocker if Trick Williams wins. It wouldn't be. It wouldn't be. And nor should it be. You know what I mean? And if Ethan Page retains, I don't think that should be much of a surprise as well. So far in WWE NXT, it's kind of been hard to kind of portray kind of like a bad guy, kind of like what Ethan has been trying to do ever since coming over here from AEW. Obviously, within his first, he had a clause in his contract stating that he could challenge for the WWE NXT Championship. Part of me says NXT is like, you know what, Trick Williams is he's over. He's over 1,010%. So let's go ahead and let him win the championship. But then another voice in my head keeps saying that Ethan Page, when you have essentially when you have a heel as the face of your brand, I kind of feel like it does better in the ratings, but that's just my opinion. Obviously you had Roman Reigns, and then in the way in the past you had Triple H. Also you had JBL, a couple of people who had the championship, and a lot of people were like look at Edge and the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. You can also take a look at that, and I feel like business in terms of professional wrestling is a little more simpler once when you have that heel as the main target, because then you have the fans, grooming up, getting ready to root for this next guy who's and that's something that the wrestling promotion, in this case WWE, will kind of have in their back pockets. Will kind of have in the palm of their hands. They'll have the crowd eating out of the palm of their hands because they're like, you know what, whoever we put up against this guy is going to automatically get light shed on him. It's kind of a nice putting over move. So I think, in all honesty, I feel like it's essential to let Ethan Page retain. I got to be honest. I feel like he's a well-deserving champion. He boils the blood of a lot of NXT universes. Also superstars. And just the way he is, I kind of like it. The all ego era will continue. In my opinion, I feel like that'd be pretty great. But obviously, we're not at that yet. We're not at that. So let's see if my prediction comes true. Who knows? Next, we have we had the Grayson Waller effect. Grayson Waller effect, Austin Theory came out as well, and he continues to just egg on the audience. He continues to insult them. I, you know, I was a firm believer that this guy was kind of heading toward a babyface, but the way he's been acting with Grayson Waller right now seems like he's going to keep this heel role for maybe a month or so. Which I don't clearly understand because at this point, I feel like every I feel like every aspect of Austin Theory's career, also any potential of him becoming a good guy, I feel like right now it's kind of swept under the rug. You know what I mean? And if you can have a success with A Town Down Under, Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, maybe in WWE NXT, they become a face automatically. You know what I mean? The NXT is going to be on the CW. They're going to have to start selling out shows. They're going to have to start selling out venues, and having someone like Austin Theory, Grayson Waller on your roster could ultimately benefit you. So if they don't win, basically, in other words, if they don't win the WWE NXT Raw Tag Team titles in St. Louis in 2 weeks, that's when you should probably break them up. That means it's about time. It's about time. You know what I mean? For a little while there, I was like, you know what? Maybe they do have a shot. Build up some chemistry. Obviously, watch each other's back. They won at WrestleMania. Obviously, there's a lot of connection there. Winning on the grandest stage of them all. But if Austin Theory ever wants his WWE career to go smooth, to be successful, to have full of opportunities, this has to be played very delicately. Very delicately. I feel like he can't be a single superstar. You could push him. Also, you have Xavier Woods coming around the corner and Kofi Kingston, whatever WWE creative does in terms of the New Day on Monday Night Raw. So it's kind of all up in the air right now. It's a possibility. Definitely a possibility that Austin Theory could definitely turn his back on Grayson Waller, but I can probably see the other way around. Maybe this match, maybe they lose this match. I think Grayson Waller, out of pure frustration, comes in and he attacks and he kicks the holy hell out of Austin Theory. So that could possibly be a way that they can make this work. Next, we have Lexis King. Lexis King actually showing that he wants to play by the rules a little bit, but Oro Mensah didn't. He did not, which was actually kind of funny. Poetic justice. His foot was on the ropes during the 1, 2, 3 count. He was able to pick up the victory. Next, you see a Tony D'Angelo training video where he's out there training with Stax Lorenzo, Luca Cristofino. Anything that you really kind of hear from WWE whenever it comes to like this Rocky, montage and stuff like that. Usually it works. Look at what happened with Sami Zayn and Chad Gable with Gunther at WrestleMania 40 for the Intercontinental Championship. I'm not saying that this is the future, but I feel like Oba Femi is absolutely one of the most dominant champions I've ever seen in my lifetime as a professional wrestler. He deserves to kind of be like a step up. I feel like the WWE NXT North American Championship, of course, when you're not on the CW, when you're not trying to sell out crowds, you could have a champion last 200, 300, hell, even 500 days. Why not? Screw it. You know what I mean? But and I'm not trying to say the USA Network is not, mainstream cable television, but the CW, I feel like this is the first time you've ever seen WWE kind of work within the spectrum of, standard cable. Obviously, Fox, took it back. Before then, there was SmackDown, and then when SmackDown debuted, it was on Channel 13 on basic cable on the UPN network. I remember watching it. I think it was after Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I could be wrong. But you kind of have to need those championships available. Like, I'm sorry, but you just do. And Obafemi wreaking havoc all over NXT. I feel like right now, if it's a time to kind of fade him, I feel like it's right now. Tony D'Angelo, he puts on great matchups. Obviously, a former Heritage Cup champion, obviously lost to Charlie Dempsey thanks to Wren Sinclair. But I feel like he does deserve a shot at something bigger, or maybe make it onto Raw or SmackDown. I feel like Raw's going to need him. Both shows are moving to 3 hours. You're going to need a powerhouse like that to kind of put over some talent. Ultimately, be a success on our show. And I feel like Obafemi could do that 1,010%. Rich Holland clearly defeats Riley Osborne. Obviously, you saw Thea Hill kind of get in the mix, kind of cute. It's kind of funny. Wesley, Zachery, Wentz have a confrontation via satellite, not via satellite, but they were basically FaceTiming from one edge of the building to the other edge of the building, where they both got pissed off and joined each other in the middle and started kicking each other's asses, which was kind of cool. I absolutely love the expression of the F bombs. There were so many like F this, F that, leave my effing wife's name, pulling a Will Smith, keep my name out your mother, like, you know what I mean? So I honestly liked it. I thought it was kind of cool. I thought it was, it definitely adds to the blood a little bit. And, 1,010%, I thought it was pretty cool. Randy Chu and Rosemary get back in the win column with the win over Carmen Petrovich and Brinley Reese. A-Town Down Under wins tonight against Cedric Alexander and Jabon Evans. And finally, we saw Roxanne Perez and Gulia come face to face with their press conference, only to be confronted by the CMLL legend herself, the former New Japan Professional Wrestling Strong Women's Champion Stephanie Vaquer, just basically saying at the end of this tightrope, at the end of this, at the end of this rainbow, whatever trail you guys want to go down, you guys have to face me. So, I thought it was pretty cool, that they introduced Stephanie finally into the WWE, obviously with Stephanie and Julia, appealing more to an international kind of audience is exactly what WWE wants to do. As of this point, moving on to, the CW network on NXT. So, I give this episode probably, I give it a 4.5 out of 5. I thought it was great. Overall, I thought it was really great. And, can't wait to see what entails next on the first episode of WWE NXT and the CW. It was the last episode on the USA Network. They did have a video montage, like a thank you. I was happy that they included a lot of wrestlers that left WWE, like Keith Lee, like Adam Cole. I thought that was ultimately kind of badass. I feel like NXT is gonna have a lot of success. I kind of feel like that right off the bat. All right, guys. So hey, do not go anywhere. We're gonna jump on into our AEW Grand Slam preview. What's happening right now? Can't wait to watch it. So grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage, and join me here in about like 25 seconds.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
And we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern, here on the GSMC Sports Network. Talk about all the things that we love in terms of professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring, backstage curtain calls, drama, obviously storylines in terms of professional wrestling. It's pretty badass. It's awesome. It's lit. We also talk about a lot of like superstar injury updates, inactive statuses, also contract negotiations, extensions, and new signings from promotions from AEW to WWE, TNA to Ring of Honor, the GCW, the NWA, if it makes major headlines in terms, in the world of professional wrestling. We talk about it here on the show. So yeah, just gotta reflect on what we talked about right quick. We got our WWE NXT review, and now we're gonna talk about some AEW Dynamite. Can't wait to. Well, no, it's not Dynamite. It's a special edition of AEW Dynamite. A lot of people thought it wasn't gonna get a lot of attention because obviously tonight you have the playoff in the WNBA with the Connecticut Sun and the Indiana Fever kind of going up against Caitlin Clark. I'm not sure how well the viewership is going to be on Grand Slam, but if anybody can do it, it's Tony Khan. I'm just kidding. Uh, Moving on. Obviously, before we get into it, I want to thank you guys. Make sure you send in those super chats if you have a burning question or a hot take in terms of professional wrestling. Make sure you drop it inside that chat. Don't be shy. Go ahead and make the conversation lively. We can't do it without any of you guys' support. Obviously, don't be shy. You're and if you really want to make sure your comment, question, or concern gets noticed on air, why not use that super chat? It's that $ below the chat box. Whatever you say will be featured, guaranteed to be featured on the show. So yeah, let's go ahead and make all your dreams come true and send it in. But anyways, plus it's a great way to support our channel here at the GSMC Sports Network. Your super chats definitely helps us keep the lights on a lot of these amazing podcasts. All these podcasters have one goal, is to give you the most awesome sports content that you get in the world of sports media. Whether if it's ESPN, Fox Sports, you can always count on the GSMC Sports Network to deliver 1,010%. Once again, we are absolutely, obviously, super grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here daily on the GSMC Sports Network. Your support makes all the difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. And together we will make sure this show is bigger, better, and stronger than ever. Once again, if the super chat is not your thing, hit up the gsmcpodcast.net, hit up the tips and donations link. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Just remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show, follow the network here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity 1,010%. But obviously, criticism is a part of life. Obviously, feedback is a gift. So, whatever you have to say, it's much appreciated. All right. So, yeah, before we, get on to that, make sure you hit up that super chat, those super stickers, guys. Let's do it. Make it like Nike and just do it. All right. First, we're going to talk about some AEW Grand Slam first. Obviously, this is a huge episode of AEW. This is going to be big. Prince Nana will provide an update on Swerve Strickland. I'm not really anticipating too much on Swerve. Right now, you kind of have the Hangman Adam Page, going around the AEW locker room. He's feuding with Jeff Jarrett. I feel like he has another feud in his back pocket before he confronts Swerve Strickland once again. But Swerve, man, oh my God, during that match at All Out, it was crazy. It was, obviously, if it's still talked about on major wrestling news headlines about, obviously the syringe spot that a lot of people didn't like, and of course you didn't like it. You know what I mean? Why would you like it? Essentially, you kind of have something like surgical tools that you would see at a doctor's office, kind of mixed in with matches, mixed in with violence. And, overall, I don't think it was the greatest spot. But I don't know. It should be interesting to find out what he has to say tonight. Next, we have Hook going up against Roderick Strong for the FTW Championship. This one should be good. Roderick Strong desperately needs a championship run. Maybe this is his night. You know what I mean? Like Hook has been not once, not twice, but he's been a 3-time FTW champion, holding it longer than anybody has ever had. In the championships, tenure. That means ECW, also AEW. So this could possibly be a way for Roderick Strong to win the championship out and kind of take his rightful place as the leader of the Undisputed Kingdom without Adam Cole. Adam Cole has been nowhere near to be seen. Which kind of sucks. But Roderick Strong, he really honestly needs to prove himself because I kind of hate seeing him going into matches and keep losing every single week. Every single week. This is a guy who's had a chance at the AEW International Championship. This is a guy who's had a chance at the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship against Mark Briscoe. And now he gets shot against, the handsome, cold-hearted Devil Hook for the FTW Championship at the AEW Grand Slam happening right now. So, it should be pretty cool. It should be pretty awesome. Can't wait to see what's going on. Next, probably going to find out more about what MJF's new plans are going to be. I can't really, put a prediction on him because he's so damn unpredictable. Like, somebody that you think that he would never ever feud with, all of a sudden he's talking mess, and it's just, it's crazy. Overall, it's crazy. MJF is definitely, a lot of. I read an article where they compared him to The Rock of WWE, of AEW. And it's not like I'm against it. I definitely think he has earned the respect of kind of being that title because before, AEW had MJF or when MJF went on that hiatus, they definitely they pushed stars like Swerve Strickland, which was, I feel like it was a smart move. They signed Will Ospreay, they signed Okada, they signed Mercedes Moné, and obviously the absence of MJF, it took a toll on AEW. And now that he's back, I feel like it's exactly what the promotion needs. I feel like at this point it can only get better. And, it's doing better. It's doing a lot better. It's seen a lot of viewership increases, which is which is ultimate, which is great for AEW. All right, next we have the Young Bucks, the against Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. I really honestly don't see how Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher kind of pull this one out. But, it's AEW, so it's possible. AEW, they do love their double champions. But the Young Bucks right now with the whole elite thing, right now I feel like it's kind of a lost cause. You haven't really seen, him, Matthew Nicholas Jackson. You haven't seen Kazuchika Okada. You haven't seen Jack Perry kind of together in a long time. So this could possibly be a, dissolving faction. Has never really, they kind of mention it here and there, but it's not as like prominent for the storylines for Matthew Jackson to come out and be like, the elite this, the elite that, we run things around here. But then obviously now we kind of have Tony Khan coming back. A lot of people think that Tony Khan is going to go out, and make a major announcement on AEW Grand Slam about their streaming rights with HBO Max. HBO Max might be your new home for AEW pay-per-views, which in all honesty is it's perfect. It's exactly what AEW needs to kind of go over to the next level. Paying $50, $60 for on YouTube TV or Bleacher Report. It kind of gets a little troublesome. Why not, pay once a month for HBO Max? You can get all the shows. You can get a lot of movies on HBO Max. I watch HBO Max a lot. Recently, I watched on HBO Max, they have Major League, which was actually pretty badass with Charlie Sheen. And who was Willie Mays Hayes? Willie Mays Hayes. It was Wesley Snipes. I think it was Tom Berenger, I think it was. And Darren, I don't think. Oh my God! Yeah, one of my favorite movies, and I can't think of the stars that are in it. So I recently watched that, and now just know that you can watch some AEW pay-per-views without paying like $50. And I'm not, I get it. I get it. Going out there and paying money for things, for content that is clearly not suitable for your regular, like, cable television appearances, or bookings in terms of professional wrestling. So I get it. I get why you would charge, but AEW has actually done a very, very good job on, having PLE matches, kind of like we've seen WWE, but having PLE matches on Dynamite, sometimes on Collision. I rarely see it on Rampage, but and for that, I think it's kind of cool. And I think Tony Khan actually levels with his audience a little bit because he understands, like, and not a lot of people could pay $50, for pay-per-view on YouTube. Not a lot of people could pay $50, to, see it, to stream it on Bleacher Report. But, we can be on HBO Max. We can still give you some awesome content on TNT and TBS. So, Something that I honestly kind of, I love and respect Tony Khan for that. I think that's kind of cool. Next, we have Mariah May going up against Yuka Sakazaki for the AEW World Women's Championship. I honestly don't think that Mariah May is going to lose against this girl. Maybe Mina Shirakawa challenges her next. I would love to see that since she was like, you know what? You're not the same. You're not the Mariah May that I used to know. But you didn't have to. I don't know. It's kind of funny. Moving on. So this is gonna be a good match. This is gonna be a great match. Obviously, I feel like that style of New Japan Professional Wrestling kind of runs through the veins of Mariah May, and obviously, I think Yuka's gonna put on a hell of a match. And I feel like the only way she's going to lose is if you see interference by Mina Shirakawa because this she's damn good. If you check out a lot of tape that she has in Japan professional wrestling, um, she's a baller. She's a baller. 1,010%. She could definitely be the future. No New Japan Professional Strong Women's Champion, maybe challenge Willow Nightingale somewhere down the line. Well, no, not Mercedes Moné. Sorry, Willow is the CMLL World Women's Championship. My apologies. Next, we have John Moxley taking on Darby Allin. Darby Allin's AEW World Title shot is on the line. At this point, it makes no sense for Darby to challenge Bryan Danielson. It doesn't. You know what I mean? Like I said, for Bryan Danielson's kind of retirement tour here, he's going up against the best that AEW has to offer. And I'm not trying to crap on Darby here, but just back to back, like you have. I'm not trying to say Jack Perry's the best thing either. Jack Perry, you have John Moxley in the few. Next could possibly be MJF. You're going to see Bryan Danielson beat all these guys because Tony Khan loves Bryan Danielson. He's wanted to put the belt on Danielson for the longest time, but Danielson didn't want it because he knew at the end of the year 2024 he was going to have to undergo neck surgery, and he wanted younger talent to be promoted more than his own, which is totally unselfish and pretty badass. But speaking of Bryan Danielson, we have a match tonight against Nigel McGuinness. If he's clear to wrestle, which he will, I feel like he will. He's going to come out and he's going to be like, you know what? I don't care. F this, F this. I'm going to defend my champion. Is it for the AEW World Championship? According to the site, it's not. But, it could be a major news headline in terms of, if Nigel McGuinness is able to kind of pull off this victory. But overall, it should be pretty awesome. I can't wait to watch it. All right, guys. So, hey, do not go anywhere. We're going to jump on into our third segment. We got potential storylines for returning WWE superstars on both Monday Night Raw and on SmackDown. So, grab your favorite drink, grab your favorite snack. I know mine is a nice bag of pretzels, also some red vine licorice, not Twizzlers. Twizzlers suck, dude. If you're a fan of Twizzler, I'm sorry. I am no fan of you. I'm just kidding. No, not trying to make it personal, but Twizzlers are bad. Maybe because I've had red vine licorice my whole entire life, so maybe I think that Twizzlers are kind of trash. But those who drop in the chat some snacks that you guys like to eat while watching professional wrestling or the NFL. Perhaps what's your favorite kind of beer? I'm just kidding. No. Moving on. So we will be back to talk about potential storylines for returning superstars when we come back. So hey, do not go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right, all right, all right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. We're here to talk about everything in terms of the world of professional wrestling. If it makes major news headlines, from promotions like WWE to AEW to Stardom to New Japan Professional Wrestling to TNA to Ring of Honor, CMLL, whatever. If it makes major news headlines in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on the show and just kind of address a couple of chats that I got. I had no idea that I got these, and my apologies. I don't know if my chat box is a little slower than it was a little slower than usual for obviously I got my man Anthony Mazzano, my man Zano inside the chat. Love and respect you, my man. I hope you're having a great Wednesday night. Hope you have a great weekend. Hope you're preparing for another great weekend. First, he states, hello, my prediction is I think that Obafemi is going to relinquish his North American Championship. He's going to leave undefeated, and, we're going to call up, and we call up to the main roster, and I think the family is going to be called up with Tony D'Angelo. And, that I can see that happening. I think that would be perfect for the family because obviously they've been around NXT. I feel like for the longest time, you've kind of seen him, battle Ilya Dragunov for the championship. Also, you've seen him, win the Heritage Cup championship. You kind of need something like that. Well, I don't know. That's kind of tricky. No, that's kind of tricky because I know once when NXT is going to be on the CW next week. They're going to need a lot of star power. And, on Raw, you have the Wyatt family, American Made, the Final Testament, although Karrion Kross and the authors of Pain haven't really been on television for a pretty long time. Well, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks. I haven't seen them. That's crazy. Well, Karrion Kross, but not AOP. Also on SmackDown, you kind of have everything happening with the Bloodline. It would be interesting to kind of introduce, the family. I like Tony D'Angelo. I definitely feel like he puts on great matches, and every single time he steps inside of the ring, he could, help the other wrestler kind of establish more of a basis of a future in terms of becoming a professional wrestler because he's that damn good. If you're that good in the squared circle, you make yourself look good. But at the same time, while performing, you make the other person look even better. And I feel like Tony D'Angelo, he's, he can do that 1,010%. As of Obafemi relinquishing it, at this point, I feel like that's the only thing that makes sense. If he loses against somebody, it's not like, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if this is gonna make sense. But if he doesn't relinquish it, and if he goes on and he loses, people are going to be like, the match wasn't good. The match was botched. It, doesn't, the wrestling's not real. Wrestling's unrealistic because this total badass who's been defending the NXT North American Championship week in and week out, and they just gave it to somebody like Tony D'Angelo because, of what was said, further notice. And, that could be possibly as well. I believe that could, it's, WWE creative really has to be a little, sharp. Hopefully they will be. I really honestly don't want it to kind of go like that. I don't want Obafemi to lose to some BS match. And, even me as a wrestling fan, just thinking about it right now, I kind of hate it. It kind of would kind of suck. Next, we have another chat. Honestly, Mercedes hasn't really made an impact. Oh my God, yes, agreed. Since she debuted, this title has become bland, and I blame Tony Khan for not knowing how to book her correctly. You're right. 1,010%, you are right, and it does also reflect on Tony Khan. It also reflects on what Tony has done for Mercedes Moné, like giving her own creative writer, giving her like a contract clause, much like you saw Hulk Hogan during the WCW era when he didn't want to lose to Jeff Jarrett, and it just wasn't good business. At the same time, yes, you should get the opinions of your stars, but at the same time, you don't want to let them run the franchise. Look what's happening with the Lakers and LeBron James. You know what I mean? Same thing happened. LeBron James wanted to bring his buddies. Yeah, sign Russell Westbrook. Hey, dude, which I feel bad for. I feel bad for Russell Westbrook because I think essentially he was killing it as a Washington Wizard, and he came to the Lakers to kind of be a scapegoat of LeBron James's failures. But and then oh, let's get Carmelo Anthony going on here. Let's get JaVale McGee, draft my son. You know what I mean? And and of course, because LeBron James is that damn popular, he can bring in that kind of revenue. So if you're the owner of the Lakers, you're not really upset because people are watching your product day in and day out because you have the hottest NBA, if not the hottest star in the world of sports, on your teams. So people are going to watch, they're going to buy jerseys, they're going to buy merchandise, they're going to buy tickets. And I don't know, it's but mostly, this whole Mercedes Moné thing is I feel like it is kind of ridiculous. I feel like when she got signed to AEW, I had high hopes for her, not as a babyface, as a heel definitely. But Tony Khan doesn't know how to book her, and I know there's definitely some favoritism. I believe there is some favoritism. I got to be honest, and I'm not the conspiracy theorist kind of guy. Got to be honest, but Tony Khan, you know, um, he's kind of keeps himself. He does play favorites. 1,010%. He does play favorites. That's why he got rid of CM Punk because he wasn't getting along with with the Young Bucks or Jack Perry and basically his favorites. And he sent CM Punk off only to go to WWE, and the ratings have dropped immensely. Almost about 500,000 viewers ever since Cody Rhodes and CM Punk left due to creative issues. Obviously running that by Tony Khan. Also, we got another chat. I think Nigel McGuinness versus Bryan Danielson is just another way to cater to the IWC and not to build a bigger and casual fan base. And I think that's right on the. That's right, nail on the head right there. Nigel McGuinness, although he's had a prominent he's had a prominent career inside professional wrestling, and the best thing about him, it's not any or all accomplishments that he's ever has ever made or accomplished or anything like that. It's just the fact that when he's inside the ring, they put on good wrestling matches. Much like you kind of saw with the Ravishing Rick Rude back in the day, he didn't get a lot of gold, he didn't get a lot of love in terms of that. More or less, he put on a lot of great matches. That's the reason why he is a Hall of Famer. So I think Nigel McGuinness in that kind of aspect, I agree with that 1,010%. When it comes to watching AEW, when it comes to watching wrestling, I read somewhere even AEW, the majority of people who watch it don't watch the independents. The independents are like that one. I'm sorry, that one I do not understand. Watch the independents. And I feel this match is going to be slowly turning Darby into a bad guy. I do. I feel like they are, turning him into a heel, which is terrible. I don't like that booking at all by Tony Khan, because he's starting to realize that TK does not believe in him to Tony Khan does not believe in him to be the face of the company, and he's going to lose to John Moxley. And I feel like he's going to lose. I was talking about that earlier. I feel like he's going to lose to John Moxley 1,010%. I agree, because he's going to attack Danielson at Wrestle Dream. Because he's Darby Allin. I believe Darby Allin, maybe. I think that's because he's as of Darby Allin turning heel. I don't like it. I don't agree with it. I think he's he's the fans fan. I kind of compare him to to Cactus Jack, like a Mick Foley kind of figure, where he goes out there and he puts his literally he puts his neck, his career on the line every single match he has. And for AEW to have success, having him jump onto the dark side, he has this feud with the Elite, with Jack Perry. Obviously, he didn't really, shine in terms of the not War Games match, but the Blood and Guts. Well, no, he technically did get the win because he was threatening to, yes, Darby, okay, yeah, attacking Bryan Danielson. At this point, I feel bad for Bryan Danielson. He gets always, the Blackpool Combat Club turned his back on him, which was terrible. But then now you have Darby breathing down your neck. If John Moxley defeats Darby Allin tonight, I feel like Darby's going to go on maybe a single, maybe like a different pack. I was talking about independent wrestling and the commitment. Even bigger portion of AEW fans don't watch independent wrestling, and that's correct. And you can go ahead and go on a limb and say WWE fans as well. They look at independent wrestling like a lot of these stars that leave WWE. They kind of took a break, kind of like what you saw with, what happened with Cody Rhodes, where he went to independent wrestling, then he went on Ring of Honor, then he started doing his thing in AEW, created AEW, and, and then I don't know, all of a sudden, like it just independent wrestling. Although I feel, especially under the Triple H Paul Levesque era, I feel like a lot of underground superstars are getting noticed on NXT. Stephanie Vaquer, obviously. Then you have Gulia, international stars that are amazing. A lot of talks of Matt Cardona coming back to WWE. You've seen with the addition of the Bloodline, the MLWs, you see Tungaloa, and Jacob Fatu. When Jacob Fatu made his debut, I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I gotta be honest. I thought it was dope. I was a little starstruck. I was like, you know what? This is what wrestling should be. During the Vince McMahon era, it was kind of like no, we don't talk about other wrestling promotions. We don't want them. We're better than you. Yada yada yada. You're trash. We are not. But in nowadays professional wrestling, I like how Triple H is opening up that forbidden door, because at heart he is a wrestling fan. At heart, he's wrestled inside the square circle. He's given his his blood, sweat, and tears. Literally broke his quad twice, and he's also basically almost had a heart attack in the middle of the ring. So it's I feel like he understands. And I feel like that's in terms of getting people from the independent wrestling, AEW also. AEW fans, I feel like all they do is watch AEW. They don't really pay attention to Tony Khan's other promotions like the CMLL, the Ring of Honor, also New Japan Professional Wrestling, which is New Japan Professional Wrestling is actually having a PLE coming up pretty soon. So yeah, kind of crazy. Totally, oh man, a lot of questions. I love it. Definitely, I'm going to try to zip through this as soon as fast as I can, because I got my boy Emran's GSMC Soccer Podcast coming up super quick. Obviously, it wasn't your guys' fault. It was my fault. I don't know what happened with the chat. It just, I had a whole mountain of chats all of a sudden, all at once. So, yeah, let's go and talk about some potential returning WWE superstars who could, first we're going to start out with, Monday Night Raw. We're going to start with Monday Night Raw. Obviously, Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso can make a run at WWE. He could come back and obviously be part of this bloodline, which would be pretty badass. Although he was actually, he was downplayed by Roman Reigns, and of course he was taken out by Solo Sikoa. He was the first victim of the new bloodline, which is kind of crazy. Will he join Roman to even the odds, or will he join his brother Jey Uso to kind of help him successfully defend that Intercontinental Championship? Here and there. Next, we have Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair, according to reports, it's been said that she is going to go back to WWE SmackDown. We're going to have a Queen versus Queen kind of storyline. She's going to fight Nia Jax. Will she dethrone Nia Jax? I honestly don't hope she does that. I like Nia as a champion. I think she finally deserves a nice, comfortable title run through her illustrious wrestling career. So I don't want to see the 12-time champion become the 13th. I think it was 14 or 12. I think it was. I don't want to see her win just automatically right off the bat. You know what I mean? Should be kind of crazy. Maybe they could settle this feud at WWE Survivor Series, which is a possibility. All right, next we have the Viking Raiders. Recently on WWE Raw, you saw a vignette of a couple of letters and stuff like that. A lot of people think it is the Viking Raiders. On Monday Night Raw, I like him, but I like him better on SmackDown. I got to be honest. It was on the USA Network. It wasn't necessarily on WWE Raw. I think WWE Raw, and they went to like a commercial, and then it showed the promo. So I'm not sure if that's because both Raw and SmackDown are going to be on the USA Network, obviously until the Netflix rights cuts in for in the beginning of January 2025. But I love myself some Viking Raiders. I want to see more I want to see more of an established tag team division in WWE. That's why I feel like you don't see a lot of tag teams. You don't see a lot of tag teams on SmackDown. You don't see a lot of tag teams on Monday Night Raw whose sole purpose is to be tag teams. I got to be honest. I hate it. Absolutely hate it when two former Intercontinental champions, two single stars who can be making bank as singles wrestlers, join forces together to overcome this thing called the tag team division. Save the tag team division and the tag team belts for tag team wrestlers, for people who have great chemistry, for people who actually go in and like that's, not all they do, obviously, that's not all they're going to do. But, tag team wrestling hasn't been prominent in professional wrestling for a pretty long time. You had the New Day, then you had, the Usos, you had that rivalry going on, and I thought that was pretty badass. And then on SmackDown, you would put some team like Rhino and Heath Slater, and then you put Grayson Waller and Austin Theory together. The Hurt Business could have been a successful tag team, but obviously under the Vince McMahon era, like didn't really come in fruition. The Street Profits are being wasted. Montez Ford is one of the most. Oh my God, whenever he goes inside the ring, I love it. I love watching the Street Profits because Montez Ford is so electric. So electric. Definitely, rising. He's become one of my most favorite superstars on Raw, SmackDown, AEW, New Japan, and all the wrestling. I feel like, he definitely does have a singles run in him, 1,010%. So, the tag team division needs work. I feel like it does need work. If not, make the WWE World Tag Team Championships just one. There's no use of having two belts if you're going to give the belts to this new Tama Tonga who doesn't even know how to freaking hit a low blow, who keeps botching it. Tama Tonga who can't talk on the mic. If you're going to give them the tag team championships and dethrone DIY only after a week of being champion, and DIY is an actually tag team. They're an actual tag team. Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa. Tag team wrestling, people watch it not for the individuality of the superstars in itself. You know what I mean? They more or less watch and see how these two kind of come together. And, that's the reason why the New Day's been so successful. Back in the day, that's the reason why you had the Hardy Boys back in the day. That's the reason why you kind of saw the Four Horsemen kick total ass. You saw Hawk and Animal, the Road Warriors, and now you just, WWE just puts two people together and be like, hey, guess what? You guys are the new WWE Tag Team Champions. I don't think it should be like that. I think when the Viking Raiders come back, I feel like glory will follow. I feel like it has to follow. Next, we have Shotzi. Shotzi, I think she's going to be on SmackDown, focused on, a couple of women stars. Obviously Chelsea Green, also Naomi, and she definitely has, she could team up with someone like Michin. They kind of have the same, kind of chaotic, in-ring style of matches and stuff like that. Maybe a future tag team for the women's division. Who knows? Next, we have Asuka. Asuka is ready to come back to WWE. It's just a matter of time. New contract. Fresh, starting off fresh, so 1,010%. I think she's going to come back bigger, better, and stronger than ever. Maybe something doing with damage control, evening up the odds against the Pure Fusion Collective. And Alexa Bliss, she's joining the Wyatt Six. I don't care what you have to say. At this point, when she comes back, it would make no sense for her not to join the Wyatt Six. So, a lot of people had this anticipation of her coming back to WWE to join the Wyatt Six, and I think it's possible. Big E Langston obviously could be the glue to bring the New Day back together. That could be it. But recently in an interview, he kind of said that, hey, they could be good as singles wrestlers, or they could be good as a tag team again. Kind of leaving it, open-ended, giving an open-ended answer, not really answering the true question of how you feel about the New Day breaking up. Should be interesting. I want to see Big E come back. Like I said, I don't want to see the New Day break up. Next, we have Raquel Rodriguez. Raquel Rodriguez, obviously, Liv Morgan cannot win a championship match on her own. She's going to need some help. Obviously, bringing in a muscle like Roxanne Perez could possibly bring it over the top. She's been doing really, really good in terms of her injury. Well, it's not really an injury, kind of like a. I don't really want to call it a disease because I don't want to overplay it. I don't want to underplay it. Basically, the reason why she's out. She hasn't been able to step inside of a WWE ring in a long time. 1,010%. I would love to see Raquel Rodriguez come back. She was one of my favorite wrestlers coming out of WWE NXT, and doing something. If Raquel Rodriguez comes back and she does something with Liv Morgan, I feel like the Judgment Day, kind of gets a breath of fresh air. I feel like overall it'd be kind of cool. It'd be kind of cool. All right, next we have Brock Lesnar. Gunther's final boss. Gunther stated in an interview that he doesn't feel accomplished until he beats Brock Lesnar. And Brock Lesnar obviously on hiatus after everything that's happened with the Janelle Grant allegations with WWE, Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and who you see inside the ring. I think he's good. I think he's good right now. I think he's been acquitted of any charges, if that makes any sense. It doesn't really have. I think he's kind of letting things to die down a little bit. I honestly don't think he's going to make it. I think he comes back in Royal Rumble. He was supposed to come back, this year at the Royal Rumble. It's only poetic justice that he comes back, at the next upcoming Royal Rumble. I think, isn't it in Indianapolis? I think it is. But I don't know. It should be pretty awesome. AJ Styles needs to come back. His contract is nearing expiration. So, obviously still up in the air in terms of that. Shinsuke Nakamura, you haven't seen on WWE Raw, SmackDown. He was featured a couple of times. Obviously, I think he made a shout out of his of one of his training partners who fight in the UFC. He has a lot of talent. He has so much talent. He was so great. Why did you have to have him turn heel and kick AJ Styles in the balls? Why did you have that? Why did you do that? I'm just kidding. No, but I don't know. I feel like his career could definitely, it could definitely be, it could be recovered. It could be recovered. All right, guys, wrapping this up fast, and I apologize. Of course, always going over. We talked about potential storylines for returning WWE superstars, and now we're going to talk about Netflix's Mr. McMahon, which is available on Netflix. So make sure you check it out. Obviously, after this podcast, I'm going to talk about basically not really all the tea or the allegations and stuff like that. I'm going to talk about more or less just his reactions to some stuff. But so hey, join me back here. So hey, do not go anywhere.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. We're here to talk about everything in terms of the world of professional wrestling, talk about all the action inside and out, backstage drama, talk about superstar, injury statuses and activity, reports. We also talk, contract signings, negotiations, extensions, also signings from promotions from AEW to WWE to New Japan Professional Wrestling to the CMLL, from TNA to Ring of Honor. If it makes major news in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. Just want to reflect on what we talked about right quick. We had my WWE NXT review. We had my AEW Grandslam Dynamite preview. Then we talked about some potential storylines for returning WWE superstars. And now we're going to talk about Netflix's Mr. McMahon, which is available now. Make sure you check it out. It's a 6-episode docuseries. And, I'm going to be watching that throughout the day. It came out today. So maybe an episode tonight. Maybe I'm just kidding. No, not that. I still have AEW Grand Slam taped, and I can't wait to watch that. And I doubt at like around 11 p.m. if I'm going to be able to stay up for some good old fashioned Vince McMahon banter. I'm just kidding. Moving on. So let's go and talk about some Mr. McMahon. Mr. McMahon. No chance. No chance now. No chance. No chance for Vince McMahon. Wow. Vince McMahon, obviously, you saw the Mr. McMahon docuseries coming out on Netflix. Vince claims that he's nothing like the character you see portrayed in WWE. Obviously, like I said, I'm not going to spend, this isn't an episode or a segment about, bashing Vince McMahon. Okay. But if it was, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously a man, it's not easy to be a business owner, and I'm not trying to condone any actions whatsoever. I guess he had reasons for, being the way he was. I heard he, kind of rule with an iron fist kind of mentality in terms of how you handle business. You know what I mean? Not really how I would have handled it, but then again, I was never really in his shoes. Obviously, in terms of the WWE divas, and I'm like I said, I'm not trying to push the envelope too far here. Some of the most beautiful girls you've ever seen in your whole entire life. Once again, not condoning any actions of sexual harassment or anything like that. You know what I mean? But I, a guy who's I can't even. Oh my God, I can't even talk. Uh, a guy who literally, he had everything. You know what I mean? He had a great business. His son, his daughter was, part of it. His son-in-law. You had grandchildren, grandbabies, and then like you found a way to have a blessing from God, having this amazing wrestling conglomeration that is WWE, and due to lustful nature, to to misled judgment, to a over ego, like it kind of messed it up, man. He messed it up, dog. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Vince McMahon was asked by director Chris Smith what similarities he shares with the character portrayed in WWE, Mr. McMahon, and he said this, and I quote: the character Mr. McMahon, with me, none whatsoever." And obviously, right off the bat, you were kind of like, "Are you serious right now?" Watching on WWE, I've been a WWE fan for such a long time. You know, uh, Essentially, the show goes your way. Whatever Vince wanted, that's exactly what happened. And like a lot of spots where he was put in a predicament where he was like, having an affair with Trish Stratus or something like that. That dance with Stacy Keibler that became a, worldwide meme on the World Wide Web. Like, you kind of book yourself in these situations, and it's not, that's essentially kind of like, being a director of a movie and, you're in charge of casting. You're in charge of casting, and then you have this kissing scene coming up, or you have this scene where you're like this big head honcho guy, and you're like, you know what, I could do that. You're like, you know what I mean? Or, I want the prettiest girl, and like, it's, you know, I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to, I don't want to jump across any, any rivers here. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to stir the pot, but ultimately, I felt like he put himself in a position as, and I watched this on Raw, on SmackDown, where I was like, oh, look, Mr. McMahon is once again next to an attractive lady. You know what I mean? That's, not really, not really a surprise. You know what I mean? Um, you kind of have a lot of from what I've read about WWE divas in terms of how to please Mr. McMahon and kind of have him in your good graces, basically, you gotta stroke the ego. You know what I mean? You basically, and that, and it's interesting to say, in terms of any kind of professional setting where, sexual harassment lawsuits would obviously are very seriously, it's something that you should never ever do. But for some strange reason, Vince McMahon, I think there was a point where he was like, you know what? I'm basically, I don't want to say God, or like, I don't want to, I feel like he felt like he was, you know, the leader of a multi-million-dollar wrestling sports entertainment franchise. You feel like you're untouchable. Obviously, nowadays with with a lot of hush money allegations and court settlements, and then of course with everything that's going on with the Janelle Grant allegations and sexual human trafficking, it's it just like having that thing kind of lingering over your head. It's not good. It's not good, and I'm not sure Vince McMahon's public image will ever come back. I know this documentary did air, and I know that he was very concerned about his image kind of being not scrutinized, tarnished, kind of being, disrespected. But if you kind of do disrespectful stuff, at the end of the day, you kind of, you kind of deserve it, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but I don't know. Overall, kind of crazy. His son Shane McMahon said that the character Mr. McMahon is an extension of Vince, but it's blown way out of proportion. Obviously, and that's your son. Trying to protect your dad's ass there. I love that. Respect that. Other interviewees would obviously say otherwise. Shawn Michaels said the difference between Mr. McMahon and Vince probably probably not that much, not much of a discrepancy. Hulk Hogan said that that's exactly the same person. Bruce Pritchard said that the character Vince McMahon is really just Vince. He'll tell you differently, and he's like, no, Mr. McMahon is Mr. McMahon is Vince in a lot of promos and diatribes. That basically have been cut. He cut a lot of promos. Also, he talked to other people and have actually, cut one in front of him. He was able to cut a promo in real life and stuff like that. It was kind of crazy. And Vince McMahon, basically, no, Bruce Pritchard said that, Vince was like, you know what? I'd never say that. I never say that. And then he was like, yeah. Pritchard was like, I'd say, yeah, honestly, you would. You've said it to me a bunch of times. Kind of putting him on spot in terms of real life examples. And, once again, Vince McMahon obviously trying to protect your own, public relation image and stuff like that. But it's easy, it's kind of hard, especially after everything that's happened. Um, Also, the disturbing allegations in the Janelle Grant sex trafficking lawsuit. Vince obviously didn't want this docuseries Mr. McMahon to conflate him with his character, although I feel like it's kind of too late. Vince's statement toward the Netflix docuseries originally announced in 2020s. WWE Studios were producers, but obviously I feel they bounced out. It was basically when Vince was still in charge, that's when they were like, you know what, yeah, let's have a docuseries. Vince McMahon was all for it. But then once when it was, once when he resigned from WWE, that's when I feel like it kind of took a more like personal approach because Netflix is starting. They're going to air Monday Night Raw, so they're going to have to be, gonna have to be partners and stuff like that. So, obviously, having this docuseries air, which causes a lot of scrutiny in terms of Vince McMahon overall, kind of, has a lot of negative eyes toward the WWE. And I feel like that's why Vince McMahon ultimately left the WWE for the betterment of the company. Obviously, his son-in-law is running it right now. Sasha Banks talked about her WWE exit. Mercedes Moné said that, and I quote, "I left for many reasons. A lot of, kind of just weird stuff happened with myself and the chairman at the time. I was talked down to. If I stay in WWE, that's not okay. What are you going to teach your kids? You know what I mean? Kind of being like, you kind of have to have self-respect. And like Vince McMahon is just, it's just overall, he's just one person, but at the same time, get on that power trip. Then it's all like, it's all downhill from there, kind of thing. Vince McMahon also did, release a statement in terms of everything that, basically what has happened with this whole Netflix thing. And he says, and I quote, "I don't regret participating in this Netflix documentary. The producers had an opportunity to tell an objective story about my life and the incredible business that I built, which were equally filled with excitement, drama, fun, and a fair amount of controversy and life lessons. Unfortunately, based on on an early partial cut, I've seen this documentary fall short and takes a predictable path of conflating the Mr. McMahon character with my true self, Vince. The title and promos alone make that evident." A lot has been misrepresented or left out entirely in an effort to leave viewers, intentionally confused. The producers used typical editing tricks without the context footage and dated sound bites, etc., to distort viewers' perception and support and deceptive narrative. In an attempt to further their misleading account, the producers use a lawsuit based on an affair I ended as evidence that I am in fact Mr. McMahon. I hope the viewer will keep an open mind and remember that there are two sides of every story. It's eh, it's kind of crazy. It is crazy. I honestly I can't wait to watch it. Mr. McMahon actually wanted to buy the Netflix documentary for reasons why I do not know. You know what I mean? Well, I do not know. Uh, Mr. McMahon believes that in a public statement he called the docuseries misleading and deceptive. So obviously, he didn't really like what happened. He didn't really get a final say in the final cut. WWE didn't either. So at the same time, you're kind of starting to have this new audience on Netflix, and then you're going to debut something like WWE. Could, kind of be like a double-edged sword here. But the life of Mr. McMahon was very interesting. That's all I really have to say about Vince. And like the only good thing about Vince was the way he kind of stood his ground during the Monday Night Wars, the way he was able to, he cared about that business. He did 1,010%. Obviously, maybe something's not the right way, but he would insert himself in the storyline. That feud with Stone Cold Steve Austin. His son Shane, Stephanie. Obviously, that's the reason why Stephanie definitely got a lot of closer with Triple H. That's the reason why they're married today. So there's a lot of stuff that I honestly, I'm not trying to take the side of Vince McMahon and be like, okay, yeah, there's two sides to every story. Because at the same time, as a wrestling fan, you kind of knew what was going on before something like this, like a docuseries on Netflix came out. Like, you know what I mean? You kind of knew. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. It's kind of crazy. But we gotta wrap this up. 1,010%. Our last but definitely not least segment, we're going to talk about some my Wednesday's weekly wrestling news. So, hey, do not go anywhere. All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, here to talk about everything in terms of professional wrestling. So, without further ado, we have our fifth segment. Sorry, excuse me, got the hiccups. We got my fifth and final segment. We're going to talk about some Wednesdays weekly wrestling news, and we're going to talk about some of the headlines. So, yeah, let's go ahead and dig on into it. We are rapidly running out of time. We have about 8 minutes left, so let's go ahead and see we can get this done. All right, so we have our Wednesday's weekly wrestling news. A lot of great wrestling headlines. Angelo Dawkins celebrates the birth of his second child. Congratulations, my man. That's super cool. As a father of three, I got to be honest, the best thing in the world is, the smile that you get from your kids. When you walk in through the door, you get embraced by hugs. And then when they say, I love you, Dad, it's the best reward that you could possibly get. It's better than absolutely anything in a million years. It's better than winning $1 million on a slot machine. It's better than driving a Ferrari. It's better than, owning your own NFL franchise, and, it's better than kissing the prettiest girl in the world, but well, when I kiss my daughter on the head, I'm like, you know what? You're the prettiest girl in the world. I got to be honest. A little cheesy, a little dorky, but definitely love my kids 1,010%. And they make an honest man out of you 1,010%. Kids, they're the lifeblood of the world, basically. Like, what I mean? They're exactly, they're going to be running this biz at the end of the day. So the best thing you could do is be, the best father you could possibly be, show them all the love, support, and, just be kind, be patient, especially when you're a parent. Patience, oh my God, it's key. Patience is key. So, congratulations, Angelo Dawkins, for his second child. All right, next we have Big E eyes an in-ring comeback 3 to 6 months from now, which is good. Like I said, he can ultimately, be the glue to kind of bring back the New Day back together. He's been with WWE for such a long time. I remember when he was the muscle for Nick Nemeth. When he was with AJ Lee, and he had a crush on her and stuff. It was a little far fetched, but it was wrestling, dude. It was cool. Don't get too crazy into it. But Big E, ever since, making it to the New Day, it was just wonderful. It was just so cool. And then he had the WWE Championship title run, and it would be kind of cool to see Xavier win one. You have Kofi Mania, then you have Big E, and having Xavier Woods win, that would be pretty cool. I wouldn't mind that. Maybe he wins the Royal Rumble and takes on whoever is the World Heavyweight Champion. Because I feel like right now the WWE Championship is kind of on hold. Not on hold, obviously. Cody Rhodes is the guy. But, you kind of have The Rock, wants to challenge Cody. Then you have Roman Reigns, maybe Randy Orton, maybe Kevin Owens again down the line. And it's a possibility. So, but obviously, 1,010%, I'm so happy to see Big E, eyeing to come back to WWE. All right, next, Mercedes Moné is unsure about a future partnership with Megan Thee Stallion. Obviously, she feels like they can't work together because she's AEW, and WWE SmackDown, the main with RM from BTS, which is my daughter's favorite member of BTS. RM, rap machine, rap monster. I'm not too sure. Don't be mad at me, all you guys out there who love K-pop. But it's kind of crazy how K-pop is just randomly like took over. I don't know. I'm staying focused. So Megan Thee Stallion made a song. A lot of people thought there was going to be collaborations with her and Mercedes Moné in the future, but Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks basically was like, you know what? Can't really happen now, especially with the partnership with SmackDown. So not really a deal, not really something that's come in fruition. But I feel like it would have been pretty badass. Ultimately you have two amazing stars, and I thought it would have been pretty cool. Next we have Braun Breaker finally breaks his silence after losing to Jey Uso on Monday Night Raw. Basically, his first remarks, he was a 51-day champion. He says he's still hungry. He said, and I quote, recharge, refocus, eat. Kind of rhymes with yeet, which is kind of crazy. But, him losing on Monday Night Raw wasn't really an indictment on him. I still feel like he has a pretty good future in WWE, 1,010%. He's special. He's going to be the face of the franchise pretty soon. Obviously, with a successful family, with his father Rick and with his uncle Scott, just be patient. Be patient. You're going to get another shot. You're going to be an Intercontinental Champion probably like 5, 6, or even maybe like 8 or 10 times. He's young. He's fast. He's very athletic. He's so special. But most importantly, he's impressive. So 1,010%, Braun Breaker is going to be back. He's going to be back. Next, Vince McMahon basically says he never wanted to retire from WWE. He says that he could have always stayed in WWE and creative, could have been the guy in the backstage. And let me be the first to, just tell the world that I'm happy that this didn't happen. No, it was a time where WWE needed a change. It was, there was a point where it was bad bookings. You didn't really know a lot of what to do with the storylines in terms of a wrestler. You played favorites, in the women's division, also the men's. Vince McMahon leaving WWE is probably the best thing for the company. The best thing that could have ever happened. And I'm not trying to crap on Vince. Like I said, back in the day during the Attitude Era, yeah, sure, he made a lot of good decisions. But then, as it slowly was like a domino effect of horribleness, and it was terrible. And when Triple H Paul Levesque took over, and I ultimately thought it was it's been great. It's been great. All right, next we have Mercedes Moné once again. Doesn't feel like she will return to WWE because she feels like she likes in AEW too much, the way that they handle their talent, which is, respectable. Vince McMahon defends the decision to continue the Over the Edge pay-per-view with, obviously, you saw Owen Hart, fall to his death, which in my opinion, I feel like they should have stopped the show right then and there. Vince McMahon was like, the show has to go on. They didn't know that he died. The live audience didn't know he died. It was the TV audience who knew. And, so it was like, let's just keep this show going. They came here to see the show, which is, 1,010% disrespectful and a little selfish. Roman Reigns is set for multiple SmackDown appearances, which is super cool. Big E Langston once again addresses the rumors of the New Day split, kind of with an open-ended answer saying that, there's a way these two could be successful as single stars, but at the same time, they could be successful as tag team stars. Even Stephanie McMahon in the headline news admitted that some things that her dad wanted her to do was a little far-fetched and a little weird. The audience yelling slut and him going like this, being like, this is a money idea, Steph, embrace it. You're who cares if they call you a slut? You know what I mean? Who needs self-respect? I'm just kidding. But anyways, we are all out of time, guys. I love you guys. Make sure you tune in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast every day, Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show, follow the network here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity. 1,010%. Stay tuned for Emran's GSMC Soccer Podcast. And I'm your favorite wrestling fan clocking out. Have a beautiful Wednesday night. Stay beautiful, but most importantly, love you.
Let's go.